And what's going on, everyone? And welcome back to another episode of Business is Pleasure. I'm your co-host. My name is John Francis, and on Business is Pleasure, we take some time to just really look back at our previous work, our previous week, look at all the work that we've been able to do and up to this point, and also talk about our relationship here and there, and see how our business is really affecting our relationship. So my name is John Francis. I am the co-host and the co-owner of the Clarion Training Company. I am here with Colette, and the best way and the only way we start off Business is Pleasure is how was your week, Colette? My week has been interesting for the last 3 weeks. I think I've just been like on this downward spiral. I've just been being extremely gluttonous, having too much fun in my life, and now I'm kind of happy because I'm gonna stop, relax, take a deep breath and analyze and see what's going on, and go back and get really back on track or whatever. It was funny because today I was talking to myself and I was like, I like working from behind. I like being like the underdog. I like being in difficult situations that force me to become creative and that force me to become motivated, you know? And I think a lot of times with a business, it does really become systematic, and within that system, you do sometimes start to I guess more or less come off course because it's become so monotonous, it's the same thing over and over again, you know? And I realized with myself, for me, it's every 6 months. Every 6 months, I like to take maybe a 2 week or a week break and just have things recalibrated in my mind, you know? For the last 6 months, I've quit my job. I've been working Clarion full time, and I think, and I know from the results that I have that we've been able to get so far, I definitely have been happy about it. But again, it's just everything is the same thing over and over and over again. So sometimes that can be a bit overwhelming. So yeah, these last 2.5 weeks or so, I think have been amazing. They've been fun. But now it's time to get back on the horse and get back to seriousness. You know what I mean? So these last I'll say 2.5 weeks for me have just been more or less just a write off. You know?
So now you finally admit it.
What?
Now you finally admit it.
No, I've been the card. There was nothing to deny. I already knew what I was doing.
Well, how come when I say it, you're like, no, that's not true. But now that you realized it for yourself.
No, what you were? I'm not sure exactly what you were saying. I think what you were talking about was some of my habits, they tend to make me or less irresponsible, and that's 100% accurate. But I think it's not necessarily the habit itself. It's more so the behaviors that I have that create these habits. You know what I mean? And I think for me, sometimes, don't look at me with that side eye whatever you're on.
It's not the same thing.
So for me now, it's I gotta understand. It's sometimes I get bored, and you know what I mean. And I'll do things that more or less put myself in a bad situation, just so I can work twice as hard, you know. And I don't know. That's just my personality. I know it's not the best way to go about life, but honestly, it works for me, man. It works for me. So yeah, so I want to take this next maybe 6 months from now till September, really to just have everything fine tuned, have everything just really down packed. Because I feel as if we're on the verge of going where we want to be. Because we had a conversation where okay, well, if we made X amount of dollars in our business, we should be running it like that type of business. You know what I mean? I think it's time now. It's okay, you know, the joke's done. Let's get to work now. You know what I mean? But yeah. So, how was your week? How did your week go?
My week was good, aside from telling you exactly what you just said, every day for the past week.
Okay.
For now, all of a sudden, you miraculously, come to this conclusion on your own.
Yeah. Just take me time sometimes. Don't try to take no credit.
I'm not.
If you help me.
I'm not.
And stop treating me as if I need an intervention or something. Oh, John, you're doing too much. No, relax. It's been a week and a half, and realistically, nothing's really been affected. Okay, take a deep breath. We'll be fine. And you know me, I'm in it to win it.
Okay, well, I'm happy you figured that out for yourself because nothing would have changed if you didn't. So,
thank you.
Congrats.
And thank you for helping me. And at the end of the day, I'll give you your little tutus. I'll give you your little tutu. What's it called? Your little tutu. Thank you.
How hard was it to figure out? Thank you.
You know, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. But my week was good. What did we do last weekend? Did we have an event? Yeah, we had an event.
Yeah, the VMP.
We had Vintage Marketplace, which was great.
Oh wouldn't say it was great. I don't think it was bad.
It wasn't bad. It just wasn't exciting.
Yeah, it was. That was one of the first shows that I think for me it's been a while where you like forget that not all shows are the same. I think it was ran extremely well. They did a great job promoting it, but for us it was just a bit slower than usual.
Yeah.
So it was something for us where it was just like dragging the whole day on. Saturday wasn't too bad, but then when it came to Sunday, it was just it was just dragging the whole time.
And it wasn't like it was dragging because it was super, super slow. I feel like myself personally, like I feel like I just wasn't in the mood to be at an event.
Yeah, I'm sure that's part of it.
Like I was just like from the second I woke up, I was kind of just like, yeah, I don't want to do this
Yeah,
today.
like not today.
But like obviously you can't have a choice.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of played into both of our feelings towards it because we both kind of like usually we'll start an event and be like, okay, let's go. Whereas like this one we were both kind of just like,
Like,
yeah.
whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. So like I feel like that factored into it, but I feel overall, even that into consideration, we did really well. And like, I feel like it was a little bit of an adjustment for us because unfortunately we didn't have our business cards. And usually that's kind of like a conversation starter for a lot of people that we interact with. Whereas like we didn't really have that, so I think it was kind of like awkward for us at some times. But I think it was good. And then my week was good. I just feel like I was busy and stuff. But
Yeah, and I think for shows where the traffic isn't as high, I think that's important for us. Where one, again, like we need to try and engage more often with clients because that's the one opportunity that we really do have. Right? Okay, well there aren't as much people coming by, so it's not as busy. So it allows us to engage more one-on-one with the clients, which is all good, and it gives them that better degree of customer service maybe they wouldn't get from other places.
yeah, that's true. And I also feel like I was kind of over it because a lot of people that were walking around weren't necessarily our demographic. So I know it's not good to make assumptions, but sometimes when I'm like talking to people or like when I interact with people, I can kind of tell pretty quickly whether there are like ideal demographic or not. So I don't know, sometimes I just am like, what's the point of engaging in conversation if they're just gonna be like, thanks so much, like little smile and walk away.
Yeah, but sometimes I think we also have to think about it because it's like, I don't know, I think it creates like this like wave effect. It's like, hey, I may have talked to your mom may not really be our desired demographic, but her daughter, which is you, is.
And also like at the same time, you never know.
You never know. Sometimes there's some women that they may not like her clothes at all, but they're like, oh, my daughter has been looking at something like that. Let me get it for her.
Yeah, you know, like you never know. So that's why you kind of just always have to talk to everyone. But like I feel like obviously we'll have better events in the future. Just that one, I don't know what it was. Like I just was not in the mood, and neither were you.
Yeah, no, most definitely. And I think another thing that we did fairly well too is like we allowed ourselves to utilize time really well. So a lot of the products you guys see that we have online, those are the items that we'll bring to the events with us. And sorry, I'm really nasally. I'm sick again. I don't know what's happening. I usually have this really strong Jamaican immune system, but this year for some reason it's just been so trash. Like before, you could have like spit on me. I could have drank like water and there would be feces with it, and I would have been fine. And I would have been like 100% fine.
I don't know about
That's how
one.
strong my immune system is. Nowadays, like if you blow, like if you whistle at me,
I don't know
I'll get
about
sick.
that one.
So if I'm a bit nasally, guys, my apologies. That's why. But I think like with us, we allowed ourselves to like utilize the time that we were there by like. So yeah, a lot of the stuff that we have online, we bring to the shows. But then of course we have to like go back online, remove the stuff that's sold from there. So instead of waiting to get home, we were able to do that at the show, and it was almost instantaneous. You know, so when we buy something, we had enough time right away to take it off. No, this is Vicks. Why it's so shiny?
Oh.
Yeah, it's Vicks. Why are you trying to diss me like that?
Cause
Don't do that. Don't diss me like
just
that.
like
Look what that was.
yeah.
Sorry, guys. It's Vicks. I'm not like snot. Like I'm not nasty. Yeah. So like it allowed us to like really like keep up with our inventory and do stuff like that. So there are different things that you can do to one, remain occupied, and two, just like make the best of the amount of time that you have there. I think if we only go to events and we're worried about making sales, and we're not worried about other aspects of the business as well, we're not only failing the business, we're also failing ourselves, you know? Because like if we're gonna be at a place for 8 hours, right? Sometimes 9, 10 because of loading and unloading, the least we can do is try and become as productive as possible. And I think for events, that's one thing maybe we can figure out to do. It's like, hey, well, I know you brought your laptop to many events, and if they have been slow, you go and do the accounting, or like you go and write an article, you go edit an article, you know. So I think as long as we're like again trying to remain as productive as possible and within good spirits, we're always going to be successful at events.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what the whole part is too. You know what I mean? But sometimes I think it does get a bit overwhelming, just because with events, and honestly, it's just with business. I feel like we always go back to the same thing. You just don't know.
Yeah, you just don't know, and it's like one of those things where it's
Sorry, you just don't know if it's gonna be successful or not.
yeah, and like it's one of those things that is a hard transition, especially if like you've had like a 9 to 5 job and or you're used to just having like a steady income, and like that's one of the things that I always think about, like when you trade your steady job for a business, like yeah, of course your opportunity for growth and profit and success is so much higher, I would think, in running your own business than say working at like a 9 to 5, for example. But you lose that like comfort for a long period of time. Like you lose that security of like every other Friday I'm gonna get this amount of money no matter what. You know what I mean? So like that's probably one of the biggest things to adjust to, and like you really don't ever know. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like you go to an event and think it's gonna be amazing, and it turns out to be a complete flop, like
No, 100%.
our event.
And oh my god, and especially the thing too, right? Because like a lot of them, we're fortunate enough because like you have multiple sources of income, so a lot of income we'll get from you. We'll put that for our bills, right? And so a lot of the money that we put back in, we get from Car Knuckle, we put it right back into the business. But it's like, hey, if we have like a slower week or a slower month than usual, we can't put as much money back into advertising, back into buying new products, just back into maybe going to an event that's a lot more lucrative, right?
Yeah.
So I think one thing that we always got to keep in mind as well too is that like we have to think about it. We don't want to think about it on a day-by-day approach in terms of the sales, because of course you'll beat yourself up too much. We also have to keep in the back of our mind, like we need to make sales so we can constantly put the money back into the business, constantly keep the business going, you know what I mean? Because I think a lot of times, a lot of things I've seen nowadays, especially the younger generation, they're doing what they're passionate about, what's fun, what's enjoyable, and I think that's an amazing thing to do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the reality of it is that like when it comes to business though, it's a machine. You have to run it like a machine. If you're not constantly, again, like, getting the money that you got, put it back into business, reinvested in marketing, branding yourself, trying to grow and everything as well, it's gonna be hard for you to be successful and really have a sustainable business in the long term,
Yeah, and like I feel like that was my feeling as to why like I kind of was getting a bit annoyed with you for having so much fun, because like I just noticed some of your like diligence and some of your ways of like scheduling things and being on time and like being like so like articulate and like bless you.
Go ahead.
Are you okay? And like meticulous with things. I noticed that you were kind of like not like sloppy, but just like not as like
off. I was a bit off.
Yeah, just like not as on point as like you usually were. And yeah, sure, that's cool for like a day or two, but like for an extended period of time, that's obviously gonna have an effect. So like, yeah.
Nah, for sure. And that's the thing with me, right? I don't ever go. So there's this Chinese proverb. It goes, cross river by feeling for stones. And I think for me, what that says is like, if you're walking too deep and you don't feel stones anymore, you've definitely gone further than you can handle, right? And like for me, that's like an analogy to life, right? Like I like to go into the deep end, but of course, like I'll slowly feel the bottom and make sure that I still have a solid foundation. So with me, of course, whether it's like partying too much or just doing anything in excess, I know my limits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think like you should always know the rules to the game, but importantly, what's your end point? And I know for myself, like when it starts like affecting you negatively, affecting me negatively, starts affecting our business negatively, that's when it's like, okay, John, I'm like, take a step back. You know what I mean? Like you've done more than enough now. So yeah, most definitely. But like but that's the craziest thing I think about a system. I want it to run so smooth eventually where I don't even have to be in the, like I'm not like my behavior won't be an issue. Like, you know what I mean?
But I 100% agree with that, but we're not at that point yet. Like we're on the verge to being there, but we're not there right now. So like this business does depend on your behavior and mine.
I know, babe, but like you're saying in a way is like I don't know that. I'm just saying in general, like
Yeah, but
that's no. The reason why I'm saying like a machine is because it's just like that's the point that we eventually want to go to. I understand that my behavior right now is a part of the machine, so of course, like I'm not an idiot. I understand.
But you
that.
also have to understand that I'm not in your head. Like I don't know.
Colette, stop. You've been with me for 7 years. You know how I am.
understand that.
It'd been different if you were like, oh, honestly, John, yeah, like a couple of years ago, you acted like this, and like you had this devastating debacle that happened, and 2 years before that, you know what I mean? I think if there was like a track record for how 1 second, I think if there was like a track record from like how badly my behavior has affected things, I'm like, yeah, for sure, like she has a point or whatever, you know what I mean? But like till this date, sorry, like there isn't anything.
No, I understand that, but at the same time, I know who you are, and I know that you're the type of person that only will change your behavior when you realize it for yourself. So sometimes I need to tell you these things, regardless of if you believe it or you think it's true in the moment. I need you to hear it, so maybe at some point you will realize it for yourself and change.
I always realize it for myself.
I'm just saying.
But it's funny though, because like you say, I know you don't need to hear these things, but you still say them.
Because like what am I supposed to do? Just stand around? Like I'm not that type of girl, and you already know that. So.
No, fair enough, but like you make it seem as if like the things that I'm doing are like so bad that it's like, oh, Chano's gonna ruin himself. Like, what's going on? We need to call Dr. Phil. Like,
no, I never said that.
Let's get an intervention for
I never said that, but
no, but what I'm saying is that like sometimes the way like your behavior reacts, that's what it comes off as.
Okay,
right?
but let me finish. I'm just saying that a lot of the times, no, not a lot of the times, sometimes you don't realize the small things and their bigger impact. You'll think about a small thing and you'll be like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, it's not that big of a deal, and you'll just brush it off. There's only so much brushing off that you can do, and especially when you're speaking about a business, you know what I mean? Like you'll look at something and you'll be like, oh, that's not that big of a deal, it's just something small and mundane, but it has the potential to be bigger. And like, yeah, sure, maybe it's a one-off, maybe it's a two-off, but I have to let you know because you don't realize those small things.
No, I don't think it has anything to do with that. I don't realize them. It's just that like I think my ability to actually like to have as much concern as I should is like decreased. But at the end of the day, it's like I said, like I'm not an idiot. Like I'm conscious and aware to realize like I know what I am doing. But that's why I said like sometimes with me, I do need that like week or 2 weeks off or whatever. You know what I mean? Maybe not off, but like just like to slow down and like take things back.
That's fine, but like. Maybe next time, if that's what you want to do, just communicate that with me. Just be like, hey, like for the next like 2 weeks or whatever, I'm gonna be a little bit.
Yeah, from the girl that's always busy. You don't even call me and check up on me. Or how am I supposed to tell you anything? You barely even care about me.
Stop it.
No, it makes me sad. You literally don't ever call me. You don't ever check up on me. I'm your little sighting.
No, I mean.
I'm your little sighting.
No,
I only call you. You don't call me when you're at work. You don't check up on me when we work. And you're always the first one to get off the phone, and you're like, oh, I gotta go.
Because I just assume that you're busy, and I like talking to you about my day when I see you.
But you don't.
Yes, I do. When I come home, I like talking.
But that's the thing, though. Like, we're in a relationship where, like, we can't always communicate in the way that's best for Colette. We have to do it in the way that's best for our relationship, you know what I mean? And if you're the only one to talk to me when it's best for Colette, like, it's really insensitive, it's inconsiderate, and it's selfish. Like, you have to understand it's that, like, hey, sometimes I do want to hear from you, sometimes I do want to talk to you, I miss my girl. Like, I don't care, I'm going to say it. But no, but, like, you don't link me. So I don't care anymore.
Don't say you don't care.
No, I don't. I'm done. I don't care.
Don't say that.
You don't care, so why should I?
I do care.
Well, your actions just show me different.
I've never known, I didn't know that this is how, like.
I've literally been saying this for you, like, last week. Like, you don't ever link me, you don't reject me. I've literally been saying for the last week, I've literally been saying that. Like, you don't ever call me. You're like, oh, we don't ever talk during the day. Like, yeah, because you don't ever call me.
I didn't know
it was
all
the time.
Honestly, like, but you'll call me for like random stuff.
I'll literally call you maybe like 5 times out of the day, and then each time will be like 5 minutes. Like the first time will be in the morning, I'm like, oh, what you doing? You're making breakfast, da 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 da. And I'll call you back, yo, babe, look at this thing I found, da 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 da. Then I'm like, oh, you're driving. I'm like, oh, it's like, you know, how's everything going? How's your morning? Da 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 da. You'd be like, da 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 da. This is fine. And then like I'll call you in between classes. You're like, oh, I'm in a class right now. I have to mark these tests. Like, I can't really talk to you right now. Like, I'm always on the back burner. I'm always like trying to reach out.
You're not on the back burner, babe.
That's how I feel.
No, I don't mean to make you feel that way.
It hurts.
I'm gonna call you more often during the day.
I don't want you to call me more often. I want you like to want to talk to me.
I do want to
Just
talk
because
to you, but I don't
just
want
because
to
you
be.
call me doesn't mean that you
I
want
do
to talk
want
to
to
me.
talk to you, but I don't want to be distracted. Like I want to sit like
See,
this.
I'm a distraction.
No,
That's
I
what makes me
never
sad.
said you're a distraction. I said I don't want to be distracted. When I talk to you, I want to give you all of my undivided attention. I don't want to be like, oh, like I have to send this email and I have to do this and I have to do that. I want to talk to you. And like if I'm busy during the day, I'm not going to just interrupt what I'm doing to talk to you because it's not going to be my full and undivided attention. And that's all I'm saying. Like.
But that's the thing though. Like I understand that you have things to do, and maybe I can't always have your undivided attention, but I just want some attention. That's all I'm asking for. Like, you know what I mean? I don't need you to be like, yes, John, everything's done. What now? Like, no, like, just talk to me. Like, why can't you be like marking something and just being like on the phone with me? Like, oh yeah, John, like, how's everything? Like, I'll take you to lunch.
What if I could take you to lunch?
I like lunch. I like lunch. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, like.
I'm gonna work on it.
Like make an effort. Like I know,
I
like
do
I
make
know,
an
I know,
effort,
I
but
know,
I'm
I
not
know
making. I'm not
Go
making.
back to the notes.
I'm
I know
not
your life is
making.
booming right now.
Wait, babe. I do make an effort, but I'm not making an effort in the way that you want me to. So I will do better.
You don't call me at all. What are you talking about?
No, but it's not.
What are you talking about? You really don't call me at all. Like, what? How's that making an effort?
But it's not a malicious.
What?
There's no malicious intent.
And that's even worse.
What?
For this to be happening like unconsciously and for you not to even be
No,
aware.
it's
that,
not.
Like, hey, like I'm not interacting with
No,
John the way I
John,
should.
it's
Like,
not.
what?
It's not unconscious. It's the fact that I don't want to call you because I can't give you my undivided attention. I don't think it's fair. I want to talk to you and have a real conversation.
That sounds like our bullshit.
Okay.
That sounds like our bullshit.
Okay, conversation's done.
That sounds like our bullshit. Okay. Go on to the next topic. I don't want to talk about the next topic now.
Why are you acting like that?
Cause I'm just hurt. I'm sorry right now. I'm hurt. I'm bitter. What do you want me to say? I'm hurt. I'm hurt. I want my girl to like give me more affection, to call me up, to link my line. Like lick your man's line. Like what? Like I'm begging for my girl to call me. That's wild. That's
I'll
crazy.
call you, babe.
No.
Give me your hands.
No.
Give me your hands. I'll call you.
So one thing that when it goes back to constant attention is content. And how we're realizing today in today's ecosystem, in today's marketplace, in today's demographics, content is everything. Content is king. I'm sure you guys have heard it on numerous occasions or whatever. So, how do you think we've been able to keep up with our content over the last like 6 months?
I think our content has like, it's like a 360. Like before we used to post like 3 times a week. Like we have just like a different level of engagement. Like we have a different quality of like the amount of content that we put out, and the quality of the content is like way better than it was before, and like it shows because like we have so much more interaction, so much more engagement. We have way more followers than we did before, and it's because like we're continuously like remaining relevant, whether it be through like our just like pictures or articles or like the drop, hidden gems, our podcast. Like we have so many different like avenues to engage with different groups of people, and I think like that's just the best way, because like especially in this day and age when like everyone has an online business, like you need to figure out something to in a way like set yourself apart from everyone else. And that doesn't mean necessarily doing something that's like brand new or like never done before, but just doing it in a way that works for you and like your demographic. You know?
And I think that was like one of the hardest things for us, trying to figure out content that really resonated well with our demographic. Because I think anyone can create content, right? You can just pick up a camera and distribute whatever. But for it to be content that's so specific to your demographic, I think that's what's important. Because if you're making content and it's not necessarily reflecting what your demographic wants, or not as entertaining as it should be, I think you're doing a disservice not only to yourself but to your audience as well too, right?
Yeah,
so
and you'll notice it through your engagement. Like
no,
that's something that I do want to work on with our stuff though, is like I want to find a way to increase more engagement, especially with like our video content. Like try to figure out like, is it that we're not like talking about the right things, or just do we just not have like a following yet, or like a large enough set of people that are like super interested in what we're saying. I don't know, but like I want to figure out like better ways to get more engagement through our videos.
No, most definitely. And I think that really just goes with it, like having a community. Like, you know what I mean? So like slowly starting to like build a community. But I think one thing I want to work on next is with our content is like how can we have that community but still engage with them? Because I think anyone like can have a community. Let's say for instance like a guy that's diesel and he works out and he has a bunch of people messaging him and writing comments or whatever, you know what I mean? But if he's not properly engaging with those people and creating that right content, it doesn't matter, right? And for us, it's like we are properly creating that right content, but now just the engagement
needs to be up.
Exactly, right? So I think it really starts with us, right? It's like, are we messaging the right people? Are we contacting the right people? If we see someone that is doing something similar to our content, are we writing a comment on their post and like, hey, like dope stuff, really like your content, like, no, check ours out or whatever, you know? Are we also like building like lifelines within our community, you know, someone that, hey, if we're uncertain about if something's real or inauthentic, like can we message that person? Do we know someone that we can be like, hey, do you know any new shows are coming up? Do you know any new warehouses? Oh my god, hurt my chest. So I think it's a combination of a lot of different things. Like, okay, like what other lifelines are we building so we can help build our community? Because I think we give so much that sometimes we don't engage enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, no, most definitely. But yeah, I think for the most part, I think that the amount of content we put out and the type of content is accurate, but now it's just trying to engage with the proper community and stuff. But yeah, I think that's really it for this week. Any last words before we head out?
No, just that I love you.
Okay, done.
You're not gonna say you love me?
I'm just hurt right now. All right, guys. Thank you so much for checking in with us again on this week's episode of Hidden Gems. My name is John Francis. That's Colette. She's mean to me, but it is what it is. I still love her regardless. And until next time, guys. Peace.
I'm not